Welcome to the Detour Live, and I'm back from my little day of rest, and Dan Jones is out, so he's not so sick. He's just got other challenges. But we have Scotty McGrory, Olympic gold medalist, and race director, Olympic commentator, and also we have Matt White, team director of Mitchell Bike Exchange. Mark won't speak to me again.
You did say it.
Well, I said half of it. Yeah, well, most of it. Okay. Shut up, Whitey. Mate, looks a beautiful spot there. They've had some terrible weather over the last few days. What's it looking today?
I'm not going to say no chance of rain, but it is as good as it can be predicted. It looked very, very good day, and lucky because we're still in the mountains. We're at 1,500 meters here, and the first 130 kilometers is downhill today. So it's going to be lightning fast, and it would not be a nice place to start if we were in the rain, this being this high.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Whitey, with the weather being as bad as it has been, a lot of rain this Giro. Is there any sort of coughs and sneezes and any little niggles going on that you're hearing of riders getting sick?
Not within our group. No, our group's really good. Yesterday, even the boys snuck out. Some of the boys snuck out for a quick ride before a storm came through. They went up because we're staying at the bottom of one of the climbs we did that we bypassed the other day. So everyone needed a bit of a hit out, except Yatesy. Yatesy really likes to have a rest day, knowing that he's got 139 kilometres on the wheels until he has to turn on the screws this afternoon.
So you reckon this would be a good stage for Breakaway today, mate? I mean, I don't think any of the big hitters would be worried too much about containing it.
No, look, there's two things. I think there will be a breaker today. I think it's going to take a long time to go. We want to have at least one person in it. Ideally, one of the climbers plus one of the guys from the engine room. And then, regardless, we've checked out the final of this stage after the day after the Tour of the Alps, and it's a brutal climb to the line. And whether that's for the win or it's for just taking time back on our rivals who are fighting out for the podium, it's going to be a very, very important final last climb.
One of the reports, mate, was that that this final climb is perhaps second only to the Zoncolan in terms of difficulty, and it hasn't been raced. I know the last one was been raced. It was like 2013. Nibali, of the big contenders, not he's a contender anymore, but of the favourites, pre-race favourites, he's the only one that's actually raced up this hill. So it's that bad, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why we took the guys to see it after the Tour of the Alps, and so all our climbers saw this climb, saw it 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it is this side. It's harder than the Zoncolan we did the other day. Not as hard as the normal side of the Zoncolan, but this climb is definitely harder than the Zoncolan we did a couple of days ago.
That sounds absolutely... Well, it sounds like a Yatesy climb to me. So as long as he's got that form back.
Well, the form ain't gone anywhere, but the sun's come out, and sun's out, guns out, and he's in a lot happier place with the sun shining, that's for sure.
Yeah. And well, look, I was just writing a piece for the world famous Geelong Advertiser, and as I said, he's only a couple of seconds off fourth, 40 seconds off the podium, and a big chance even to move up to second. There's no doubt about that. You can get back to that second place. I don't know. You'd have to see something amazing happen for Bernal to lose this bike race, but even that is not an impossibility.
Hey, John, racing's racing, isn't it? People were probably saying the same thing about us in 2018 in the Giro with 3 days to go. But there's one thing for sure is we are far from done, and we've got a big battle for the podium, and also there's multiple stages up for grabs between now and Sunday.
Wendy may have it. She's a good day for Schultze in the break.
Wendy, not today. Not today. I've got some other plans for Schultze. and they are to look after Simon to the bottom slopes of the climb today. But you might see Nicholas in a break between now and Sunday. That's for sure.
Or next year, maybe, when Simon's not going for GC, maybe.
No. There's still plenty of chances to go up the road, but it's not today.
Well, look, we've been talking about how brutal this Giro has been. One of the toughest of all time. And we're about to start the last 5 days, and 3 of them are monster climbs, all with hilltop finishes. So, there's no rest coming up. It's going to be a really, really tough finale.
It will be, and there's no place to hide on these mountain stages. And everyone's had a rest day today, so some guys come out of the rest days good, some days not so much. But one thing you can guarantee from the start, it will be super, super aggressive. Everyone has good legs when they're going downhill, and there's a lot of it at the start today. And then we've got a nice little filler tomorrow, 235 kilometres, just to fill a bit of time in on television before we open up the final 2 mountain stages and a TT on Sunday.
That looks like a Sagan stage, I reckon, that one.
I reckon it's going to be a break. I reckon it should be a break tomorrow.
Well, it's the last chance for a stage. You reckon they try and hold the Bora boys will try and keep them in check?
They'll try, but there's also a lot of teams who haven't done anything. So I think unless the sprint teams are organised and multiple sprint teams are organised from the start, it's going to be very, very hard to control.
Hey, Waddy, the other classifications, do you feel that there's any bearing that they'll have on the way the races run for the next few days? So, the points, King of the Mountains, teams class, have you looked at any of those classifications to see whether there's any tactics involved from any other teams that may play a role that's something we should be, keeping an eye out for when we're watching the race?
Yeah, I think the one that probably affects directly what we're trying to do is probably Trek with the teams classification. But and we're not riding for teams classification, but when you've got a team that are leading teams class, they can't afford to miss any breakaway, and they want to have it. They want to have also guys in multiple numbers because they know Ineos, they're trying to win the bike race, and teams classification, whether they win or not, is just a bonus for those guys. So I expect a lot of movement in every breakaway. There should be a Trek rider, and our guys know that. But if they're not, well, then they're the team to watch to shut it down.
And Cicconi's still sitting 60th overall as well, so they're going to also think about his interest and whether he's up for it, because he might be able to still get himself on the podium.
For sure. But today's final climb, it's that hard that you don't even need teammates, because when you're climbing at those sort of percentage gradients, it's no different on the wheel or off the wheel. It's form, legs, and that's it. A teammate doesn't help you when you're at 16%, 17% gradients.
Now, before we move on to the next stages, I'd just like to talk about that last stage. It's something that popped up in the news more today. Is the chainsaw, not the massacre, but almost chainsaw massacre. 2 guys with chainsaws actually chasing Bernal on the side of the road. What the heck was going on there?
I don't know, but they look like right idiots, didn't they?
Oh,
there's no place.
Absolutely,
mate. Our fan is full of sensational. Our sport, is full of sensational fans. But taking a chainsaw to a bike race, those sort of people, they're better off following another sport than having them on the side of the road.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, see that is it's a big thing that happens in mountain bike racing, but they take the saw or the chain and the guide off the actual saw, so it's just the engine. And they, you see it often, cross country races, downhill races, and they'll have the sound of, because they're in the woods, they're in the forest, so they have the sound of the chainsaw. So that's a real thing in mountain biking, but not with the chain on the bloody thing. That was almost a terrorist attack.
They just missed the safety memo points, didn't they?
Yeah. Did they have masks on? I wonder if they had masks on. But
it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it.
No. So
it takes
the police.
It takes the whole Borat thing another step, doesn't it? I mean,
I'd rather see men in mankinis than men with chainsaws.
Yeah. Well, I hope it doesn't give other even bigger idiots an idea, to actually cause some carnage. It only takes a little stupid idea like that to pop up and I do want to actually make sure, I'm a passionate fan and I don't like someone like Bernal. I'm going to go and cause some real damage. I wonder what he was actually thinking about when he came past them. Whether it was just
not too much. What are these morons doing?
Yeah.
It's good to see Bardet back. That's the best form he's shown in 2 or 3 years. So,
well, it's not for me. It's not for me.
No, but it is.
I'm a fan of cycling, but no, I'd rather see him a long way behind.
Where is he? He's 5:02. He only 35 seconds, 38 seconds. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Bugger Bardet.
Why do you be the guy that like, you know, there'll be the hardcore Italian fans hoping that Nibali can do some miraculous comeback, and I think Whitey's one of those people that is definitely not thinking that he'd like anyone, Almeida or Nibali or anyone to come back into this thing.
No. Let them die off slowly, peacefully, fade into the distance.
Yeah.
You've had a great career, just don't affect my race.
Almeida's been the exact opposite of last year, whereas he was so good and then cracked a bit towards the end. He seems to turn around.
Johnny, he only had one day where he finished where Jai won and he lost the jersey, but he still finished fifth and finished fourth or fifth in the last stage time trial. He had one slightly below par day.
Not really cracking. So I don't suppose that's
for a
really
Neo
cracking,
Pro, that was pretty bloody impressive.
Yeah. But I think I expected a bit more from him this year because of that. But he had other jobs to do early on too. Not that he did them very well.
On the young fellas, John. Very harsh. He's second year pro.
yeah, true.
Hey, how about the rest of your boys?
They're winning Tour de France second year pro now, though, that mate. It's all changed.
Yeah, but there's special ones and there's special ones, and what he did last year was incredible for a Neo Pro anyway.
Yeah, true. Hey, how about the rest of your boys? So how Epi and Cam, all those guys? How's the morale? How are they feeling? How are they getting through these tough days?
Yeah, really good. Today I've just got Happy and Cam just looking after Simon till kilometre 139. But like with Schultze. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the national champion down the road between now and Milan.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, represent the jersey. That'd be great.
Yeah, and he's healthy now. He's 100% healthy. We've nursed him through a big chunk of the race, and we've got nothing to lose. We're in the final stretch, and even like a day like tomorrow, if that break could go down the road, it'd be the perfect candidate for us to be in it, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And he's not a sprinter, but he's got track skills. He has nous. He knows how to come off a wheel. And at the end of a long race in the third week of a Grand Tour, in a small group, he'd be hard to beat.
Yeah, he knows how to win bike races, and that would be the best opportunity. But even the day after, I'm not sure if you guys saw the press release, but the stage Arts' Friday stage has now been because of that cable car accident the other day. They've taken that first climb out.
It's not there. Yeah, I was just
so it's a much easier day and a much better chance for a bigger group to go to the line. That final climb is hard, but also that picture makes it look harder than it is. There's steep sections on that climb, but that's not Mount Everest, neither. So it's another day that a pretty good chance for a break to go to the line.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were going to do with that. With the cable car, like not knowing, if the cable car, like the cable itself, has it gone across the road or what, who knows? But just out of respect for the people that lost their lives, I think it's a good idea, a good call from the organisation to cancel that part of the stage anyway.
Yeah, they just took a deviation through the valley, and not too much of a change to the course, just minus the climb.
Yeah,
and as you say, another day for the break. It's amazing there's been so many breakaway stage wins in this Giro. Most I've seen in the last couple of seasons in any of the Grand Tours. What do you put that down to? Just so much pressure on everybody?
No, I think when you have a strong team, a strong dominant team leading the bike race, their goal is to win, so they can afford to let breaks down the road. If a team was leading the race that their only interest was holding the jersey until they couldn't hold it any longer, well then those are the teams that would shut everything down. Whereas now, because the selection of the race was made quite early, that put a lot of guys off general classification, which makes it easier for those teams to let breaks sail down the road daily.
I know you on top of this. I said this a couple of days ago, and it still stands actually with Bernal's win of the last stage. this is the first time in history that the Giro, by this stage of the race, there's only been one rider from the top 10 in the classification win a stage to this point, which is quite extraordinary as well.
Yeah, I think that's because everyone knows what's coming, and the guys in the top 10 have ridden quite conservative because knowing that we've got such hard finals to come. And I think that's also a bit of a trend with modern cycling that, you know, those big ballsy attacks from far from guys in the top 10, that just don't happen anymore, really. Like, you know, obviously Chris Froome, when he won the Giro on the Finestre in 2018, was one. But, you know, in the last 10 years, when have you seen a guy really that high up on general classification throw it all out there for the chance of winning a stage? It's hard because you're rolling the dice and you can lose, you come away with being a big loser. So at the end of the day, Ineos have controlled the finals, and as we've seen so far, the best climber is Egan Bernal, and no one's been able to touch him on any hilltop finish.
No. And we have a fan question here for you, mate. Hi, gents. What do you think of In a Ring saying Dan Martin was a top-ranked chance for tonight?
Well, he's he's a world-class climber, so I'd put him in that category as having a very good chance. But as I said, he hasn't shown that he can beat Bernal on any hilltop finish, so it's going to be hard.
He hasn't shown that he can beat any of those top 5 or 6 up.
Look, I think the best chance for Dan Martin to win today would be in the breakaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 15 minutes, 10 seconds. Obviously,
yeah,
whenever it's gone downhill, he struggled.
It's a good enough buffer. The problem with Dan there would be actually trying to get in the break. When you got he's not a big guy, and it's hard for those little guys to make the breakaway on such fast starts.
Yeah, which will make it interesting if the break does form, and it is full of those guys, big, powerful guys with 2 climbs towards the end. It certainly, you got to, I guess, assess the breakaway differently if it's full of big, powerful guys, because they're not going to make it all the way to the end, are they?
No, they're getting dropped immediately, probably on the first category one. That's hard enough. So that's the best case scenario for a climber who wants to win today is to make the move, knowing that if that break is big, half of the breakaway will be guys who you can ride away from on the Cat 1.
Nothing worse than being in a team where you've got someone that's in the break and you're like, okay, we've got someone there, but then when you get on the
but they're 75 kilograms or 80 kilograms.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, we're represented. We'll get some TV time.
Yeah.
See them halfway up the next climb.
Yeah.
The penultimate day, stage 20. It is scary. We look at that. You've got 2,000 meters, and then a very steep finale. Not a bad little way to finish the bike race with a flat time trial the next day. But so everything's going to stay up in the air until the death, really.
Yeah, it will. But the difference between those stages there is, if you look at the gradients, you're basically climbing from sea level to above Mount Kosciuszko from the start. Yeah. So I think it's 3,600 meters of climbing, but it's all in the back end of the race. So it's a tough day. And like you said, it'll be a nail biter, and things can go right or wrong for people right up until before the time trial.
Hey, Waddy, on a stage like that where, 3 big climbs, but it looks as if it's pretty much downhill or even downhill through the valleys to get to the next climb. So is there a real disadvantage for anyone to go on the surprise and attack maybe on the first or the second climb rather than just wait for the last climb? If anyone really needs to mix it up, would it be advisable to go on the first one? Because basically it's either uphill or downhill, isn't it, the second half of the stage?
Yeah, look, I think if you're on GC, I think you're wasting your time going on the first one. I think if there's a GC rider who wants to make a move, I think the penultimate climb will be the place to move.
Yeah. Ineos just are not going to let any GC guys go away on that.
No, not until they and then depending on who it is and how far they go away, they might just leave them out there to fry.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me is that you look at that, the top half a dozen there, even 7, how it's keep every one of those guys, other than Bernal, have had a rough day. They've all had, the time where they didn't go as well as we expected, lost a bit of time, and then they've turned it around. So that's why I just think anything can happen over these next 5 days.
Anything and everything will. That's the roller coaster of Grand Tours. Everyone has bad days, and the people who win them are the ones who manage the bad days the best.
Well, at this stage, it looks like Bernal's bad day might be Monday.
Yeah, he might be missing his flight or something.
Yeah, exactly. Stubby's
I had mine yesterday. Rest day was my bad day. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Look, unless you got any more for Whitey, he's been absolutely brilliant as always. I know he's got a run. So
I'm just admiring the background, mate. You know, wouldn't have been there a few months ago on the skis.
Yeah, it is sensational. It is sensational. I can't show I can, but it'll get too bright. The behind me.
Oh yeah.
You see there?
Nice.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yep.
Incredible. In this 360 degrees of beauty up here in the Dolomites. It is sensational.
Yeah. Favorite range of mountains, actually.
Yeah,
all
I was
right,
going to say
guys.
the same, Johnny. It's better than the Alps, isn't it? So, good on you, mate. Good luck today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matty. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks,
Okay, bye.
Okay, we'll just have a little word from our great partner and sponsor in Bike Exchange.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
It's very impressive. A little Aussie battling bike company that is now the world's #1 bike marketplace. It's pretty amazing.
It's just like this podcast, John.
Exactly. Yeah,
World's
getting
#1.
bigger by the
Hundreds
day.
of thousands.
Bigger by the
Yeah.
day. They tell me that
Absolutely.
it zoomed up without me there last night, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We talk about the GC, the overall standings. Obviously, we know where those things are at, and it looks, like Bernal's sort of in the mix. But I did have a quick glance right at the very, very back, and there's a little battle going on for last place as well. And it's interesting that the 3 hours 55 minutes behind in last place is Riccardo Minali, which is the son of Nico Milani. Minali, sorry, I should say, who was a good sprinter before. Might have actually even raced with Whitey in a team back in the day, Minali. So good sprinter. And Attilio Viviani, so the brother of the sprinter that's been trying to win some stages in this one. So some good family connections sitting in second, last, and last place. And there's only about 2 minutes between those two. So that may change as well. I'll keep you updated on where things are at the back of the field as well, Johnny.
Well, I see we've got some special little bloopers coming up, and I know our producer is sitting there with his finger on the button. So
our bloopers, or where are these bloopers?
Well, no, the bloopers clip is a bloopers clip from 2010. So we'll have a quick look at that.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
So strong with Sebastian, and there's my family. Shit. Come here and get involved with some TV action. It's my mum.
Some consolation, I guess.
Watch the suffering and me look like a fucking imbecile.
I tried to get on Lance's bike this afternoon. I actually got on it, and I feel like I might have done something to the chain that's responsible for the 1/1000th of a second that he missed the Jersey by.
Giro, it sort of came up that it was said that you guys were a little bit too aggressive in one or two of the stage finishes. Is that something that you guys think you are or have spoken about?
Oh no, I encourage it. I think it's good. I think get the job done. It's sprinting, eh?
Bit of biffo.
Yeah, why not? Why not bring it back? Like State of Origin. I'd bring it back, I reckon.
Oh, fair enough. Bring back the biff.
Bringing a bit of biff back into the sprints. Is that a bit of rugby background, mate? Are you trying to get a bit of All Black slutty happening in the finishes?
If I was going true rugby style, I'd be hitting out on the piss every night as well.
Are you a fan of the race radio?
I much prefer the iPod, really, but race radio gets a bit boring. He's pretty shy, Jens.
And then he was just leaning down to get something out of his suitcase, and I could see like the skin on his head through his hairs. And I was about to say, Stewie, I think you start to get bald. And as I said, Stewie, I think you, and he looked up to me really angry. Don't even dare to go there. Don't even say it. So as if he could have read my mind, he knew exactly what I wanted to say. You know, that like it looks like he's losing some hair. Don't even go there. Don't even say it. And of course I shut up and didn't say anything, you know.
No worries. Fair dinkum. No walking furries.
Don't put it too close to the Scado, mate.
Yeah, no, but
You're talking about nibbles. Better watch it.
check that out.
You put me off for dinner.
Sensational, hey? How good's that?
The late great
Robin
Williams at the end there. And when I did that interview with him, so that was Dan and I, working for Fox Sports at the Tour de France. And Robin was there because you're good mates with Lance Armstrong and come over and, we said, can we get a quick interview with you? And he said, you're Australian? I said, yeah, we're Australian. And he said, yeah, okay, no Wacken Furries. And he said it in such a, an Aussie way that I didn't even realise that he'd said it. And then there was a mate back in Australia after they saw the interview who said, I can't believe that Robin Williams said no Wacken Furries. I'm like, no, he didn't. He said, yes, he did. So I went back and looked at the interview. I'm like, he did too. He did. Yeah, he was a great guy. It's such a shame to lose him. But there's some classics in there, Genzi. And yeah, it's pretty clear that Stewie and the rest of us have been losing hair these days. Ben Stiller, Johnny, that people may not remember this, but Ben, again, this is one of the things that Lance did bring to the tour, other with Moto Man and some illegal products, was celebrities. He's had a whole bunch of different celebrities there. And Ben Stiller, Lance, so they finished second in the team time trial, and it was only by a matter of seconds that had they won that, Lance would have been in the yellow jersey, right? So this would have been an incredible comeback for him to come back and then to get the yellow jersey. But they didn't quite do it. Right before the start of that, during the warm-up, Lance actually joked to Ben behind the scenes to say, hey, jump on my bike out on the home trainer in the front of the bus, and the media will love it. They'll be, filming you and whatever, talking up, whatever. So, okay, Ben jumped on Lance's bike, but then went crunching through the gears. So he was changing gears as he was pedaling, and he crunched the gears so much that he actually bent the chain. So they got Lance's bike off the home trainer to get ready for the stage and realised the chain was bent, and they were scrambling to put a new chain on it. So, we heard the story that, he'd been messing around, and it sounded like it was just a joke that I might have cost him the yellow jersey, but he actually did, because he stuffed the bike up and they were messing around so close to the start of the stage. Yeah.
All good fun. And good to have Lloydie on there. And Lloydie's going to be a guest next couple of days, which is great. Matty Lloyd, of course, who won the Mountains jersey in the Giro back a few years ago now. But it'll be great to talk with him. It was a brilliant effort, actually.
It was actually, yeah. And I had a chat today with Brad McGee as well, so another Aussie that ran top 10 in the Giro, and he said that he's keen to come on if he can get some time over the next couple of days as well. Hank Vogels is another one that we chatted with. So we've got some bloody great Aussie legends that that we might get in over the next couple of days. So certainly looking forward to that, mate.
I've got some good stories with all of those. I was lucky enough to be on that Giro that Brad finished 8th, I think, top 10. Brilliant ride. And I just watched him every day, thinking he's about to crack up all the big mountains, Montorola and that. He just kept hanging in there. It was a staggering ride. You just realised just how much talent Brad McGee had. Yeah, very, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And working very much within the coaching fraternity through the New South Wales Institute of Sport, and actually that's gone nationally, working with the coaches. So, we were talking about it today. He said that it's strange that we have coaches coaching athletes, but who's coaching the coaches? And there's a bit of a hole there that they need to fill.
Jack Bartle, big Hugh Carthy for the podium, big chance. I mean, he's been Mr. Consistent. If anyone, I hope Caruso cracks and he stays on the podium and that Yatesy gets up there. But that's my number one priority. But Hugh,
he's only 38 seconds off it, mate. Hugh, he's only 38 seconds off the podium. So it is going to be a great battle, actually.
Hugh is on the podium.
Oh, sorry, he is too. Yeah, sorry.
He's third. But Caruso would be interesting because, he's been a pro. He's 34, I think. He's been a pro for 11 years. He's never got looked like a podium in a Grand Tour. I think he finished 10th and is his best in a Grand Tour because he's always had another job. He's always been a great support rider for someone else. And he just had the chance because his team leader come unstuck in the first couple of days at Bahrain Victorious and Mikel Landa and was out. So that left him as the man. And he's ridden it beautifully. A couple of it looked like he cracked a little bit a few days ago, but he'd come back beautifully last night or 2 nights.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, 2 days ago he was great, wasn't he? It is interesting, isn't it? Because he was second to a second in, I think, Torino, Adriatico or something like that. So he's had good results in those sort of 1 week tours. Yeah. But the Grand Tours are something different. They're such a special breed. And it's almost like with the classics as well. There are a lot of guys that are good at one-day races up to 200 kilometres, but all the monuments, they're up to 250, 260, Milan San Remo a little bit longer. But the guys that can continue racing at that speed and that intensity from 200 up to 250, 260 kilometres, that group of people just gets narrowed right down. And it's the same with the Grand Tours. The ones that actually are consistent contenders, that's a very, very niche little market of superhumans. And Caruso, while he's been good in races, hasn't shown this kind of ability before. And he's 33. So this will be a fantastic ride if he can actually keep himself in second or third.
Well, it's going to go close. I mean, we're down to the real nitty-gritty of this bike race. But as we've been saying, 3 monster days to come.
Yeah, the Giro starts now.
Well, almost saying that, aren't we? But and the other interesting thing, look, when you look at how Bardet has Bernal has actually dominated this. When anyone's done any attacking, he's been able to attack over top of them, and he really. You think, oh, look, he'd be 5 minutes in front or 6 minutes in front. Well, he's only 2 minutes 24 in front. So for all of that they've done, he's still not a long way clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look at Tom Dumoulin. He came away, he ended up winning the Giro, but there was, the number 2 toilet stop that he had to do. It changed everything only a couple of years ago. So yeah, anything can happen in the Giro, and it normally does. So, but yeah, look, you're not betting against Bernal. Like no one, even Whitey, these guys, they understand how strong he's been. Everyone, I think, would be surprised if Bernal was to falter from here. Yeah. But hey, anything can happen. Yeah, 3 massive big stages to come. They've had the weather. He seemed to manage it well. But who knows? Yeah. There could be some after effects. And then his back. They keep talking about whether his back's going to get through or not. Well, it looks like it is going to, but it's been put under a lot of pressure, hasn't it? So if he does end up having a back problem the next day or so.
Under a lot more pressure in the next few days as well. So,
Yeah, it should be interesting. Anyway, look, I'm looking forward to this last climb, the Siga di Ala, which is 11 kilometres long and super steep by all sounds of it. So if what Whitey's saying is correct, which there's no reason to think it's not, this is potentially harder than what we saw on the Zoncolan the other day, which is extraordinary.
Yep. It's a big day for Yatesy, mate. This is his day. I can feel it coming.
You can. Hey, what about in other news, Johnny? Other news. I'm a fan of track cycling, of course, and as we all are. But the European Track Championships are to be held in Belarus at the end of June, and a few countries are calling for that to not happen. So Great Britain and Germany in particular, with their autocrat leader diverting a Ryanair plane.
You mean dictator?
Dictator, yeah, autocrat, dictator, arsehole, whatever you want to call him. He is it. So declared himself the winner after the 2020 elections last year. Big protest ensued. The journalists that actually filmed those protests was flying from Athens to Lithuania. And yeah, the boss man, he got that plane diverted, basically hijacked a plane through Belarus airspace to get them to land and arrest him. So that's extraordinary. That is a major international incident, and the UCI and the European Track Cycling Championships will most likely now be diverted somewhere else as well, away from Belarus, because you cannot be rewarding countries like that.
No, I agree. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah,
too much of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, it could be the record. I've been told lately we should be trying to keep it down closer to half an hour. We've never looked like doing it, but with no other guests today, Whitey couldn't stay too long. We've really talked about everything that we have to talk about. So for all our fans out there, youtube.com, the Detour podcast, tell all your mates about it, because we're getting bigger and bigger, but we need more coverage, more hits out there, so our next lot of spots can come on, so we can get bigger and bigger. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Hey, and look, Bernal, because we're getting questions about whether Bernal will ride the Tour de France. I think yesterday I said, look, it's highly unlikely. And yeah, he's basically come out and confirmed that he won't be doing it. Their plan was for him to win the Giro. Just because he wins the Giro, they're not going to say, hey, wow, he's got good form, let's take him to the Tour. They were hoping he had good form. They knew he had good form. That's why he was here to try and win it. That's what he's doing now. And there's still the Olympics and the Vuelta a España still to come. And the Olympics is a really tough circuit, which we spoke about that last week, I think, John. And even Cadell mentioned why Michael Matthews wasn't in the team. He thought Michael should be there because he's a one-day winner. He knows how to win bike races. But yeah, when the closer you look at the course, 5 times around the lower slopes of Mount Fuji, which is a brute of a climb itself, that features in the Tour of Japan often, the climb up Mount Fuji as a time trial or a road stage. And while they're not doing the whole climb, it's 5 times over it. It's going to be pretty nasty, and
it's
perhaps
4,000 metres of climbing or something. That's like 4,000.
Yeah, so that's brutal. Yeah, that's pretty tough, isn't it? So that's more of a Bernal kind of than Matthews.
And I suppose that is something that Richie Port could. Maybe his first a big one-day success or something like that, because it is more of a Grand Tour type stage.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, that Richie hasn't. I guess they just, you look at the one-day races. There are a few of them that have those massive big climbs that he excels in. But look, he wins stages of Paris-Nice and all these other different races. Whether Wollonga Hill, Old Wollonga Hill at Tour Down Under. Okay, it's within a tour, but he's the standout climber on those sorts of days as well. So, there's no reason why Richie can't do well in these one-day races. He just hasn't really focused on them, and they haven't been, specifically the terrain that suits him best.
I do remember in Rio, he was actually going really well. And
just crashed out.
Crashed out. But he actually was going really well at Rio, so we've got to be a bit fair, I suppose. That was a pretty tough course as well, although nowhere near as tough as this one. It's a solid course. All right.
Rio wasn't as hard as people thought in the end. I
reckon Sagan would have been really a bit peeved that he picked the mountain bikes instead of that, because it would have been a great course for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he saw Greg Van Avermaet, a guy that at that time he was out climbing anyway, come away with the Olympic gold medal, then I'm sure he had a lot of regrets after that one. And Peter has been, I remember interviewing him at Tour Down Under a couple of years ago, and the question from the audience actually was put to him, is there something you haven't done, something else that you want to win? If you only had one more, I think it was, if you could only win one more race ever, what would it be? And he said, well, it would be the Olympic Games road race. So big regrets, I think, from 2016. And I think this course this year, he's not quite the climber that he used to be, so I don't think it suits him this year.
He won't get around that. No. All right. Well, thanks heaps, mate. And tomorrow night we'll have one of our big name guests that we just mentioned. I think it could be Lordy. Is it Lordy tomorrow night?
Hank said he can come on. Hank said he's happy to come on. So,
that'd be great. Yeah, great. Yeah. I've got some funny Giro stories with Hank. We'll stir Robbie up. Thanks heaps. Thanks, fans. And thanks, Dan, in the background, pushing the buttons. He'll be back tomorrow night. Night all.
This